guys, I'm Danny Riggs.
And I'm Jules.
And welcome back to yet another episode of Merch Mania here on ResTube. And today we have quite a bit to show you. Not only the contents of this huge box that you can already see, but some very special things indeed. And so we're going to save this for last. Because very strangely, someone contacted me over Discogs. And I don't know if you're on Discogs, but there you can pick out your own name. And lo and behold, someone found me thanks to my collection. And I got a private message reading, "Hey, you must be Danny Riggs." And we went back and forth. And to make a long story short, it turned out that I was writing with a man named Euchar. That is Euchar. I'm in English going to say Euchar from now on. And Euchar and we went back and forth quite a few times in messages. He has some very interesting views on the residence, and unlike me, he has been a fan and collector for decades. And it was really nice just to make an acquaintance, let alone when we realized that we live about an hour apart from each other. And so we actually found a date, and Euchar came to visit us. We didn't film any that day, but we did take some pictures. As you can see here on the pictures, this is Euchar holding the box that he labeled Johnny Wad, which happens to be my username on Discogs. If you really know where that name comes from, yeah, that's your problem. Euchar came to us with this box of goodies. He actually decorated it himself with a few very coolly drawn eyeballs. And then I let Jules open the box. And even though we were both wearing Third Reich and Roll shirts, she really didn't add two and two together. And it wasn't until the very last minute when she had opened the box and saw this smaller box that it really dawned on her what must be inside. And you'll know from the thumbnail of the clip already what is in here. If you follow me on Insta, then you've seen pictures of it one way or the other. But the contents of this, and I especially love this writing here, it says Bierkrug, which literally would translate to beer mug. And in this box, Euchar brought us a Third Reich and Roll beer stein, as the Americans like to call it. And so here it is, an original Third Reich and Roll beer stein. These were made in Germany back in the day, and I happen to know from Jim Knipfel that he drinks his morning coffee out of one. And that Hardy Fox had once remarked to Jim that he himself did not even have one. And being in Germany, you see this kind of mug everywhere, because at one point in time, this was just the very standard edition of these things. And you will find them with all kinds of different designs. And so whenever we were out and about, or at an antique store or anything like that, we would always keep an eye out, get it, to see if we could actually find one of these. But we really knew that the chances were very slim. And so when Euchar wrote and said that he had some of these and would be interested in trading them, I decided to keep it a secret from Jules, just because I knew how cool her reaction would be, as you could already see on the pictures. And to make a long story short, Euchar not only had one of these to trade, but he actually had enough for both of us to have one. And so we haven't used them yet. We have told each other, though, that we will. We might just toast the birth of Blueberry with them and then thoroughly hand wash and dry them directly thereafter.
Never use them again.
Probably. But so, just to kick off this episode, this is definitely something that we were ecstatic about. And Euchar, not only for these and for the very, very cool CDs that you also saw on my want list and asked if I needed, thank you. Thank you for that, but also for your visit. It was truly, truly great, and we hope to see you again when it's not just the two of us. We'll put these over here for now because we have a lot more to show you. This was another very strange story. That is Manuel Aparicio, who was a really, really good buddy of mine. You might have seen him in the How We Discovered the Residents clip here on ResTube. Manuel once asked in one of the fan groups on Facebook, so who of you out there has props? Please show us something. And so people started commenting with props and with costumes that they had, etc. And then out of nowhere, a woman named Martha Studley posted a picture of a vintage Christmas card made by Residents Unincorporated and wrote something to the tone of, well, I have this and it needs a new home. And so I commented as soon as I could that I would definitely love to have it. And we added each other and struck up a very, very nice conversation. I didn't end up getting that card, but just because I know someone who has collected much, much longer than I have, and who told me that he did not have the card. And so I told Martha, okay, a pal of mine will be contacting you. I'll gladly step back and let him have it. And she told me of other things that she still had from back in the day that she would also like to gift to someone who will really appreciate them. And I did say gift. Now, this whole stack may not look like very much, but when you see the items that she sent me, I think you'll agree that for any collector, no matter how long someone has been doing this, even if they had started immediately after the Residents formed, this is some truly, truly breathtaking stuff. As an explanation of sorts, Martha included this photograph that I'm sure a lot of you will know. And I also asked her if she, by any chance, remembered who took this image. And she said she's pretty sure that it was taken by Snakefinger. And Martha is the very, very cute-looking gal here in front of those two, I'm just going to say, ominous-looking gentlemen. And so to be conversing with someone who was literally there at the beginning, basically, was special all in itself. Not to mention when she sent all this, and I really grasped the unbelievable coolness of these items, like this vintage Valentine's Day card. Or, even cooler, this vintage Valentine's card. And this reads, Dear Martha, written in ink, please print, as in the name. All the fellas down here in the locker room have overwhelmingly selected you as our favorite Valentine of the 20th century. How about that? But remember what we always say, roses are red, violets are blue, sugar is sweet, and so are you. As in Residents Unincorporated. I asked Martha Studley if she'd be okay with me showing the back of this. It's a repeat of the image that we've been looking at the whole time. But the reason I wanted to make sure is because it says right there, to Martha Lehrer, and her current address at the time. And you can see that iconic love stamp up at the top. This is stamped February the 12th, 1973. Not only is this extremely old already, and for that very, very well kept, this is, in reality, a one-sheet screen print that was designed to be folded twice in the middle to make up that Valentine's Day card. Another extremely cool screen print from back in the day would be this vintage Christmas card, which, much like the Valentine's card we just saw, is also one huge sheet that was conceptualized to be folded in the middle. And here on the inside it says, "Merry Christmas from the residents." I kind of forgot to say that here on the front it says, "Where have your reindeer been hanging out?" And so to open it and see 3 reindeer hanging there with Santa Dog nonetheless, and Uncle Sam on one side and his silhouette on the other. And just to prove what I just said, this is also one huge piece of paper. If you've been to the Eyeball Museum, you might have been lucky enough to see an unfolded version of this card. That is, Andreas has it as just the paper itself, not folded. And I recently learned that the artiste on this was actually J. Clem. He designed this back in the day. The note that came along with this is dated December 25, 1975, and in what I'd like to say was probably red marker at the time, or maybe it was already purple. You can see that Martha is also handwritten there. And it reads, "Dear Martha, when I think about it, I'm sickened with the depersonalization of the holiday season. It seems no one remembers the true meaning of Xmas anymore. So I say, fuck it, and let's just do the twist like we did last summer, baby. Ooh-wee. May your 76 be full of trombones. Yours truly, Hardy." And I don't think I have to really tell anyone out there how truly special this is to have. And so, out of the absolute kindness of her heart, Jules and I were able to add some beautiful and truly vintage pieces to our collection that we would have never had even dreamed of actually owning. But that's not all yet, because there is one more photograph here of Alpha and Omega, and down here you can read Vileness Fats, Residence Unincorporated, 1974. This might look as if it were damaged. It is not, though. That stain or scratch, for want of a better word, is actually a part of the piece. And this reads, "Friday 13, shuckin' and jivin' in Willie's hot spot. I want to say this says, so wear your dancing shoes." Shoes is definitely spelled S-H-U-Z-S. That is not an O-E. So this is an ad of sorts for a one-time performance, possibly of Vileness Fats, possibly of the group, on a Friday the 13th, and I would have to assume in 1974. Here we have just a simple photo, but this was also a Christmas, I'm going to say card, again for want of a better word, a picture that I have since learned was the very, very first picture Homer Flynn took at Grove Street, and it looks as if these were actually 2 different pictures. It is not, however. Up here you can see the ceiling of 444 Grove, and that white line is actually a beam. That is, it was a loft of sorts that went up there apparently, and down on the bottom you can see something very reminiscent of the Third Reich and Roll music video. And now to two pieces that definitely take the cake and that I'm still absolutely in awe of. Because we already just now read Residence Unincorporated, 1974 copyright, and now we get to read Residence Unincorporated, 1973, and this is a picture of John Kennedy holding what I have learned was Homer Flynn's bowling ball. And I don't know if you're familiar with pictures of John Kennedy, but I would have never, ever been able to guess that that was him. There were only two different pictures of this kind made, and this picture was shot by the person portrayed here, and John Kennedy took this picture of a man who I'm pretty sure looks familiar to you. He looks just a little bit like that good-looking guy back there on that record. But I'll leave it at that. And so if you've been following us any time now, I think you can probably really imagine how absolutely dumbfounded we were when this arrived and we actually opened it. It was just one breathtaking piece after the other. And so, Martha, again, thank you so very, very much. This is more than kind, and they will definitely be held in honor. While writing yesterday, because I wanted to ask if it's okay for me to not only show everything, but also to use Martha's name, she sent me an absolutely lovely picture of her and her husband, John, that I also immediately requested to be able to use. And this is just unbelievable. So again, thank you so very, very much, and all the best to you and yours. And we will let you know when we're in the US next. So with this unbelievable little stack of collecting goodies aside, I guess we have to make room for this big, big box. You might have to actually push that stuff over there a little bit, babe, because there's a lot of stuff in here.
Okay.
This huge box comes from a very kind soul named Glenn Wagner. And whereas I normally tell Jules what I'm getting, it's kind of like with the Third Reich and Roll beer mugs. I wanted to surprise her with that because I thought I knew how she would react. And when this box arrived, we've actually waited now 2 days to open it. And I think Jules has been just as giddy as I was. And so I will also let the lady of the house do the honors. The reason I'm not turning the box and letting Jules cut open both sides is because right here it says our real last name. This is such a big box that when this is actually open, we're probably going to put it on the floor and I'll be getting out the items one after the other. I do know exactly what auctions I won of Glenn's items. He did, however, ask extremely cutely and politely if he could ask for the due date of our baby. And I asked Jules, and she was like, sure, that's sweet. And so I told him, and he said, because I'd like to include a gift. And I don't know what that is. And so, yeah, you as well as Glenn eventually will be able to see our reaction to that. And so just in case it's on top here, because I don't know, we're just going to open this box and see what happens. You ready for this? Okay, I see some packing and I see a note. Okay, this is a very, very sweet note from Glenn. And I don't know if he would want me reading this or not. I didn't know he was including a note, although it fits his form 100%. And if I were to read it even out loud now for Jules, then it would also give away something. And so now I know what we're getting for the baby.
I know.
It's very, very securely packed. I can tell that already. Oh my God, and it's actually on top. Okay, so we're gonna do it this way. Jules gets to grab this and lift it up, and I will put the box to my lift. Seeing that I kind of spoiled the surprise for myself, why don't you open?
There's an opening.
There's an opening? Okay.
It's soft. It's not a shirt. Is it soft? It's a big teddy bear with an Eskimo shirt. With a tiny Eskimo shirt. It's cute.
Okay, I'm going to ask Glenn if I can read this. Hello, Daniel. I have been doing some house cleaning for spring. I have come across a few items I want to give to you. The purple Eskimo bear is a gift for your new baby. I thought it was just too cool to pass up sending this to you. I have had the bear and shirt for about 20 years now. Maybe your child will enjoy it more than I do. The other items are old, but you will enjoy them for sure. I trust this package arrives safely and finds you and your beloved doing very well. I wish you great happiness with your increasing family. I am very happy for you. And Glenn, from the bottom of both of our hearts, thank you very, very much. That is more than sweet. It's absolutely dear. And it also, by chance, fits the color of the shirt Jules is wearing.
Yeah.
I don't know how well. I have a feeling it's actually, but I don't think it's photographing very well. But this really is a purple
You should take a picture.
bear. That is so darling. And it could not be softer. My mom would love this, by the way, Glenn, because she loves the color purple. And she also loves bears. And so I'll definitely have to tell my mom about this and send her a picture. So, Glenn, thanks a whole lot. That's more than sweet. Yeah, you can just hang on to them and cuddle. Now, these are two items I was extremely happy about when I noticed or realized that I could actually get them. And because, as you can probably tell if you've been watching for any time at all, I'm really into shirts of the band. There are just so many, and they're just so beautifully made and so varied, and you can find one for every album, it seems, or actually you can find multiple for every album, it seems. And something I didn't have at all yet was a buy or die shirt. Might as well open it up. I will be wearing these. And you can tell that this is a vintage shirt just by the feel of it. It's just a beautiful cotton shirt, and it's really, really heavy cotton. And that was just too good to pass on. And something I've been looking for quite some time. And one of my personal absolute favorites of all time is Cube E.
Oh, you got one?
And the only other shirt I have of Cube E is a black t-shirt with the glow-in-the-dark Mr. Skull and Mr. Eyeball. I can't recall right now who designed those. That is, who designed this version of Mr. Eyeball. Nor can I recall the correct name of the mathematical figure it's based on. But this is just so cool. And again, you can feel immediately that it is a vintage shirt. It's just such sturdy cotton. Not to mention this back print.
The front print too.
Oh Lord, it's really 3D.
Yeah.
That is the yellow lines. It's foamy. I can't put it any better way. Just like this writing here. This, as is the case with the yellow lines in this design, actually protrudes from the shirt. you can really seriously feel them sticking out. And if I recall right, this also has a certain neon effect to it when worn under UV or black light.
Also, the color is just, it looks like neon. It looks like it's gonna be...
It really does, you're right, because Cube E is one of my first great loves after discovering the Residence. And to finally have a piece of clothing from that era, even, I can't even start to say how cool that is. And so...
And I always like the colorful shirts.
Yeah.
And they're not just black.
She's big on when it's not just simple black. So this will be worn within a ridiculously short amount of time. And staying in the vein of shirts, one more that I also could not turn down is this tee, which is from the Animal Lover instrumental album. And I think aside from a gray shirt with one of the graphics from Animal Lover, I don't have anything from that album yet, t-shirt wise. And so a few very cool additions to the shirt collection. And so you can already look forward to seeing me wearing that Cube E shirt sometime in the future, I'm sure.
I'll try on that shirt though when the bump's gone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have to strip the bear for the shirt.
That's
just to
not
try.
Be a problem. Here we have a few things. I already saw what this is because it was written on the other side of this cardboard.
Oh, that's cool.
Now these are also really well known. I've never actually held one in my hand before, and it was genius for Glenn to put these in LP covers. These are paper masks from the Icky Flicks era, and I can't even really say, well, if it's Icky Flicks, then this has to be brown. It can't be red in theory. These, in handwriting nonetheless,
that's also
have an email on the back. It looks hand-colored to me as well.
Yeah.
I would definitely say that someone hand-colored these. I have seen them before, but never had the chance to get any. And on the back of these, it reads, I saw the Residents play Icky Flicks live, and then it gives you some boxes to check, and it also says, check one, please. And you can check in Vancouver, in Seattle, in Portland, with your mom, with the Teletubbies, in Los Angeles, with my parents in the shower, with Regis, and amidst a staggering drug haze, which is checked on this one. It goes on to read www.ralphamerica.com and in handwriting santadog9@yahoo.com. So this is definitely a product of its time, just something reading yahoo.com. I'll check the back of this just to see, okay, on the back of that one, with your mom is checked. So here we have that Mr. Blue paper mask, and here we have, I'm just going to say brown. The veins are red, that's not the same color, this is Mr. Brown, because this belonged to someone who had two members of Primus sign it. That is, so up here we have Les Claypool's signature. I know that because I have a signed book by him. And I can't really say, I can't even make out what direction this signature is in, because it could be Larry, as in Larry Lalonde. On the other hand, it could also be Tim Alexander. Let's put it this way, this is signed by 2/3 of Primus. I'm a huge Primus buff. I've wanted these things ever since I saw them. I literally don't know if there are more than just the two colors. If you do, let me know in the comments. And so, yeah, when these came up, I had no choice. I just had to go for them. Right? We're probably glaring.
It's cool.
There we go. There's still a lot more to get to. And so continuing on with all the goodies we got from Glenn, I can see that in here is the thing that kind of started all of this. That is, it is this nice piece.
Aww.
Or it's two in there. Because as you can see here, it says resident on board. And I already have one of these, but it is in much, much worse condition. And when Blueberry really took form and shape, I told Jules, we can hang that, on the back window of the car. And she said, only if you get another one. And yeah, then Glenn posted this on eBay. And it's in its original packing.
It's perfect.
It's absolutely mint condition.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, crazy good condition. It's literally mint in original casing. And there's also another goodie in here. It also appears to be in original packaging.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dog tag of Mr. Eyeball. Yeah. These are also rather hard to come by. I can't remember ever having seen them before. But from the Talking Light era, this is one lanyard that was available. And from the same era, from 2011, it reads here on the back. So these are two vintage lanyards. You can even find these on Discogs because they came with music, basically. And so, yeah, and once again, just perfect condition. I already know what this is. I think I have one somewhere. It's a Cube E shopping bag, basically. Okay. Yeah, and this is an envelope. It's a card, as you just saw. You can open this. It's the ending shot of one of the 1-minute movies by Graham Whiffler. And if I'm thinking right, these were available at the Museum of Modern Art back in the day, and also packed very securely. This is the Japanese language version of Uncle Willie's highly opinionated guide to the residence.
Japanese version.
It's the Japanese version. Yes, there was a Japanese version to this. And I remember one of the co-admins of one of the Facebook fan groups commenting that these are hard to come by, even in Japan. And so, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be opening this or not. This is the official weird guide to the residence. This is the first edition. The back says 1979. And this should also be where the essay about the residence by Matt Greening originated. I believe it was in this book released by the Weird Fan Club, The Culps, if I'm remembering correctly. A limited edition of 500 copies, and this is number 198, as it says down there. Oh, okay. Okay, so there were 3 things in that envelope. Here we have 2 different editions of the Cryptic Guide to the Residence. I have one, that is, I already had one when I got these. This exists in different colors. The design of this outer cover was made by Mark Mothersbaugh of Devo fame. A real highlight would be this edition of the exact same book. This also includes the green translucent vinyl single of Earth versus the Flying Saucer. Flying Saucers, pardon me. That side is blank, as it says. A really, really nice looking single on very translucent light green, which is photographing a bit darker, but it really is a very pretty looking single. And so this is the complete set of this edition of this book. The innards, because it's not stapled in here or anything, are the exact same as with that, aside from a sticker here that I don't think is in there. A Ralph Records sticker here, far in the back. Whereas here it still says, for fan-related information and comments or questions on this book, write to, and then it's Box Decay, as in Johann Sebastian Box Decay, a P.O. box in Belmont, California, and that has been covered here, leaving only Ralph Records address over here, and it was covered with a Ralph Records sticker, so that fits. And the real special thing about this edition of the book is this cover, which was also screen printed by hand. I can tell that the camera is having serious problems with this color.
Yeah, it's neon. It's real neon.
It's a
orange.
neon orange. And that apparently, you can see it in the reflections
glare,
down here. This is really a neon orange. And all the beings on here are, I'll say peach. I don't want to say skin tone, because that kind of implies that everyone has this skin tone. But it is what would today be called
Light
peach.
pink. It's a light.
It's a very, very light pink with a bit of gray and white worked into it. So this was hand screen printed, copyright 1986. And so we have one book from 1979. We have two different editions of this book from 1986, one with the single-sided record. And I might have all of them now. I would have to look it up. But I think we now have all three versions of this. There might be a yellow one. I don't know. I'm not really a completist, but when it came to the stuff that Glenn had and was willing to part with, I did go for the Japanese version of the book, although I already own it in English just because it's so damn cool and rare. Okay, so there's only one more thing to really get into, and it's in this poster roll, and it really harkens back to the very beginning of this video. Remember the beginning of this video? Remember the beginning of this video? Hey, she remembers. And I had no choice, and I will give a slight warning this time, whereas I did not warn about the mugs because there is no graphic use on it that could be construed incorrectly, if you ask me. But this could offend some people if they don't know what they're looking at. We, on the other hand, do. Because this is an original silk screened and unused cover for the Third Reich and Roll. And you can read down there very close by Jules' hands that it says first pressing 1,000 discs. And we have already discussed this cover in length in Res History episode 3. And this is one of the silk screens that were also handmade for the cover of that album. The carrot in Dick Clark's hand is, of course, still black and white with grayish tones, because for the album they were hand painted orange. And on this side you can read what would be the side of the record, and this would be folded and glued accordingly before the back cover of the album goes on. Glenn, looking at all this, thank you so very much for everything that's laying here. And Jules is thinking along the same exact lines as I was for this more than dear gift, truly heartwarming and equally overwhelming as all of the beautiful stuff we got from Martha Studley and Euchar surprising us with the offer of not one but two beer steins. And so to Martha, to Euchar, to Glenn, thanks a whole lot for these wonderful additions to our residence collection. And while I'm thanking people, thank all of you for tuning in. Thanks to my most definitely better half with her beautiful baby bump for going on this crazy journey with me and allowing me to spend so much money on a crazy hobby. And yeah, thank all you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed the episode, please hit like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Feel free to share this wherever you may be. You can tell people about it. You can share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, on, I don't know, TikTok. Can you share videos on TikTok? I'm an old man. I'm a boomer. I don't know.
Don't forget the Instagram.
Yeah, you don't forget the Instagram. My wife wants me to remember the Instagram. So share this on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, TikTok, and all over the place, in forums and in fan groups, and just go hog wild with this. Just share it far and wide. And for that all, I thank you. And with nothing left to say aside from it's time to find some really, really good places for all of this beautiful stuff, we'll leave you with the same words as always. You guys stay healthy and stay weird. Bye-bye, guys. He really is cute.
Bye-bye.
Huh?
It's unbelievable.
I can't move the table too much, it's gonna shake.
I'm sorry.
She's gonna have to de-tear her eyes again, or the baby will start kicking. It does not like when mommy laughs. It makes the world vibrate.